What's up, everybody? I am Travesty.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And welcome back to another episode of This Freakin' Show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. The same weekly podcast is being recorded within a tropical storm in the Midwest.
That's true.
When would I ever have had a chance to say that?
Right?
Right.
Do you know what the storm's name is?
No, but I hope you could tell me.
I can. It's Cristobal.
That just sounds like they're giving up.
Doesn't it? Apparently it's an Hispanic name, but I've never heard of it.
It sounded like somebody tried to say crystal ball and fucking stuttered from it.
Right? That's what, when Maddie was telling me the name, I was like, why would they name a tropical storm Chris Duval? Like, that's a weird first and last names now.
Right. It makes no sense. And I think maybe the reasoning is when you have something like a hurricane or a normal tropical storm, they give it Helene, Aaron, Jacob, shit like that. But when it's a natural disaster in a sense, that's not supposed to really happen, we're just gonna throw bullshit names at it. Like how do we name this? Who should we name it? Tropical Karen? Well, no, it's in the fucking Midwest. I mean, that's not supposed to happen. Name it Archibald. Fuck it.
Right. Archibald. Tropical storm Archibald.
Right.
I love
it. Joey, how have you been? You been good?
I've been great. I just had some dinner. Made myself a chicken thigh and some butter and garlic.
I got a feeling that when these 30 days of keto's up, you're going to be chickened out.
Yeah, there's a decent chance.
Yeah. But guys, mentioning keto and the next 30 days, if you guys don't remember, we are doing a 30-day diet challenge as part of Freakin Studios. Make sure you check out freakinstudios.com for all the associated podcasts with the network. Make sure you go to Freakin Studios on YouTube, where you will find the vlog that me and Cartoon Joe are doing as part of this diet challenge. Just keep you guys updated throughout our journeys and everything. And that's where you can find out how we've been doing, what we've been doing, and our successes and pitfalls throughout this entire event. So far, it doesn't seem like we have any pitfalls, but it's still early in the race. Guys, we're gonna play a new Joe.
You said you wanted me to say things when you stopped talking.
I know, but it was way too. The time has passed.
Oh, okay.
The time passed. Right? If I count a Mississippi before you say anything, we gotta move on.
Okay then.
We gotta move on. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to be that way, but Joey, I gotta be that way, man. We gotta get to go into our new game.
Well, let's move on. Let's play the new game.
We got the new game. But before we do the new game, of course, we gotta let everyone know what freaking happened. So, Joey, do you want to go first? You want me to go first? And we can tell everyone what happened this week.
I can go first. It's a pretty short one. Pretty straightforward. But in my wheelhouse, as Cartoon Joe, on this day in history, June 9th, sorry, I had to double check and make sure the date on the page is the same as the date in the world, because sometimes it's a day ahead for some reason. Back in 1934, Donald Duck appeared on the TV for the first time.
Nice.
He made his first appearance in The Wise Little Hen, which was a short film by Walt Disney. So, one of the characters whose voices I really can't do, by the way.
Tom Cruise could do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he looks like...
I know that from the British talk show. I can't remember the name of it though. But
oh yeah, the Graham Norton show.
Yeah, because Seth MacFarlane was on it and he was doing all of his accents, and they asked Tom Cruise, do you know any? And he's like, I could do Donald Duck, but he can't really do Donald Duck. He just sneezes like Donald Duck.
Yeah.
Achoo.
No, that's Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. That's not Donald Duck.
It sounded like a very emphasized right shoe.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes, it did.
All right.
Oh, So once again, just Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Right.
Or Guilmon from Digimon Season 3.
All the same people. June 6, 1956. Elvis Presley gyrates on national television. Elvis Presley appears on the Milton Berle Show singing his sexually charged version of Hound Dog. Although not Elvis's first television appearance, and not even his first time on the Milton Berle Show. This was the first time he was shown on television in full length gyrating his pelvis around, his guitar blocking his moves. Journalist Jack O'Brien wrote that Elvis makes up for vocal shortcomings with the weirdest and plainly suggestive animation short of an, I don't know that word. Aborigine? Yep, there we go. Aborigine mating dance. TV writer Ben Gross wrote, popular music has been sinking in this country for some years. Now has reached the lowest depth in the grunt and groan antics of one Elvis Presley.
Nice.
Yeah. And of course, for all of you historians, you guys should know that Elvis learned his dance moves from Forrest Gump.
Right. I didn't expect that's where you were going.
That's exactly where I was going, Joe. There's nowhere else to go but there. Alright, folks, we're gonna play our game here. If you guys remember last week, we talked a little bit about ice cream. In fact, we gave a Star Award to the new owners of a local mom and pop creamery that opened here in my hometown. And I'm happy to report that on opening day, the line was backed up the entire time they were open. Be it that was a little bit due to, obviously, the pandemic, even though people still have to be distant from each other, not make sure we could be in at once. But a lot of people, stuck out the time it took to actually get their ice cream, but they stuck it out and, got it. A lot of positive, responses on their Facebook page and everything about the quality of the food that they are, giving out. I'm really happy about it, and I'm really happy to see my community really being a part of this, and, we finally got ice cream. So,
nice.
Congrats to the ice cream shop for opening up. I can't wait to try, the ice cream here at the beginning of July when I get an opportunity to. And, again, I just want to thank the, Will County, Fair, board for allowing Piazzone to use their, benches and picnic tables for local, businesses to allow more of a crowd to be at their area to sit at.
This Freakin' Show is brought to you by Audible.com. If you like to read as much as I do, if you enjoy a good book, head on over to audibletrial.com/freaknet. Maybe you don't like to read. Maybe you like to have things read to you. Head on over to audibletrial.com/freaknet and you will get a 30-day free trial plus your first credit toward a free book. I recommend during this time of extended staying at home to pick something longer, something really good, maybe something by Stephen King. Maybe check out The Stand or It or any of the Dark Tower books. Anything in that category, you're going to find something that's at least 30 to 40 hours long, which is going to get you through a whole week of listening. So head on over to audibletrial.com/freaknet today.
So with the spirit of ice cream, I want to dive into this, because there are quite a few of them I want to get through. And, Joey, why don't you, tell them the game. Tell them what the name of the game is and how it's going to work.
What is the name of the game?
Well, I put it in the messenger, but I'll say it. It's called That's the Scoop.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. Sorry. It is called That's the Scoop. And Travis is going to read me a list of ice cream flavors, and I'm going to decide whether or not it is a delicious scoop or total poop, which is to say, would I try it or would I not?
Yes.
So, looking forward to it. I predict that the vast majority of these will be, yeah, I'll try that.
We'll see. Okay.
I'm looking. As long as there's not like a gefilte fish ice cream, I think we'll be okay.
I've seen a couple of them that, even horrify me to say, but because, it's out there, I'm going to mention it. Guys, these are real ice cream flavors that have been around at one point or another somewhere in the world. So, I'm going to start with the first one. I'm just going to read down the list and everything. We got a lot of them to go through. So this entire episode is dedicated to ice cream. So guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy these flavors as we read them. Who knows? Maybe there'll be one out there you guys enjoy. Maybe there's one out there you guys know that I may not mention. All right. First one here, mayonnaise ice cream.
Oh, wow. Starting strong with total poop.
All right. Have you ever thought mayo would make a great ice cream flavor? If so, you are in luck. This ice cream flavor caused a viral storm recently and had the entirety of the internet discuss it. This flavor was created by Ice, an ice cream shop in Scotland, who is known for the weirdest ice cream flavors. So total poop? Okay.
Yeah, I will say, I would absolutely try it, but I have no hope of liking it.
Gotcha. I get it. I love mayo. A lot of it is due to keto. But I couldn't do it in ice cream form. I couldn't eat it plain. It's one of the things where, and actually, I should probably send you this recipe. I'm not sure if you're a fan of tilapia.
I love tilapia.
There is a recipe I have where it's an oven baked tilapia, and what you do is you cover the tilapia in mayo and then cover it in Parmesan cheese. The grated Parmesan cheese they put on like spaghetti and whatever, and then you throw it in the oven, and then it all kind of bakes together. Yeah, you obviously put lemon and stuff on it too, but it's the oils and stuff from the mayo that kind of absorb into the tilapia. It's actually pretty fucking good. The thing is, right? It sounds amazing. The thing is, you have to put the mayo on thinly, because you put it too much, then you just like there's groups of mayo at time to time. I'll send you a recipe. I'll put the recipe on the Freakin Journey Facebook page.
Do it!
There we go. Alright, the next one's called Devil's Breath. This ice cream flavor is so spicy, people need to sign a waiver before trying it. It's made out of Carolina Reaper peppers, also known as the world record holder of the spiciest pepper on the planet. The ice cream flavor was made in honor of Valentine's Day at Aldwych Cafe and Ice Cream Parlor in Glasgow, Scotland.
I am so into that, my mouth is watering. Delicious scoop.
Really?
Yeah, I love spicy stuff.
Gotcha. Fish and chip gelato.
I'd try it. Delicious scoop. I'll give it a delicious scoop.
I'm only gonna read the descriptions of like ice cream names. If it's in the name, I'm not gonna read it. It's self-explanatory, you know.
Yeah.
Fish and French fries. This one is from Australia, though. So if you guys thought England, nope, Australia.
I did think England.
Pizza flavored ice cream.
Oh, what kind of pizza?
Let's see here. This pizza, flavored ice cream treated, definitely puts that quote to the test. Made in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the ice cream is composed of basil, salt, garlic, tomato, and oregano flavoring.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, scoop. Gimme. Oh, that sounds so good.
Now, what is it about it that you think would be good? Do you think the sweetness of the ice cream mixed with all these would actually, like, balance itself out?
I do. I also love the idea of a savory ice cream. And then I'm also thinking about, like, other dairy products that are savory. So, like pizza-flavored goldfish are delicious. And so I'm just imagining if that was creamier, like, would it still be good? And I think it would be.
Okay. Hot Cheeto ice cream. Again, self-explanatory. This one was made in California.
Delicious scoop. I'd eat that.
Buttered popcorn flavored ice cream.
I would eat it. I think I'd enjoy it, but it's hard to say because if it tastes anything like the buttered popcorn jelly beans that used to be in the Bertie Bott's, I would not be interested.
From what I'm seeing here, it's basically vanilla ice cream mixed with butter and popcorn.
All right, I'm in.
Squid ink ice cream.
I'd try it. I don't know if it'd be a delicious scoop, but I'd try it.
Okay. It's popular in Asia countries like South Korea, but it's just barely making its way stateside. Lobster ice cream.
I would try it. I do not think I'd like it. I'm going to say total poop, but I'd try it.
ketchup ice cream.
Total poop.
Right?
I'm sure. I just can't imagine.
It's not ketchup. This cool condiment concoction was created in honor of Ed Sheeran.
Of course it was.
Ed Sheeran famously has the Heinz ketchup logo tattooed on his arm, so Gelati, located in Ireland, decided to create this treat in his honor. You can even get a few drizzles of ketchup on top of it. Ooh, this one looks good. Hot dog flavored ice cream. Although this ice cream flavored was a limited event, although the ice cream flavor was a limited event, the idea of it still makes it one of the weirdest ice cream flavors. This ice cream was created by mixing sausage flavors with sweet ice cream, then placing it inside the hot dog bun. You could definitely consider this one of the weirdest flavors of ice cream.
Oh, it's served in a bun? I'm in. Delicious scoop. I'll try that.
Yeah. The only thing that's weird about this is like when I'm thinking hot dog flavored ice cream, all I can think about is hot dog water. That's the only thing that bothers me.
But as soon as you said it was sausage flavors and then it's just put in a bun, I was like, okay, maybe this will be fine.
Joe, I'm not gonna lie. You're saying you like more things than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, horse flesh.
What?
Yeah, there are 24 attractions within Tokyo's indoor amusement park, Namja Town. But it would be easy to spend all of your time there pondering the many out there flavors at Ice Cream City, where raw horse flesh, cow tongue, salt, yakisoba, octopus, and squid are among the flavors that are tickled or strangled visitors' taste buds.
Hmm.
Horse flesh.
I gotta say that if I were in Tokyo and I had that opportunity, I would take it. I'm a little ashamed to say it, but I would try it.
Like, it can't be bad, right?
It's weird that it's raw.
Yeah.
Like cooked. I don't want to say this too loud. Cooked horse flesh seems fine.
Well, it's just weird. I mean, like, when you sit there and think about farms and everything, we eat chickens, we eat pigs, we eat cows, we eat lambs, sheep, whatever.
Yeah.
Why not the horse? I
right?
mean...
Horses are like big dogs is my only thing. They're very peoply.
So you're going with delicious treat if in Asia.
Yeah, if I'm in Tokyo. When in Tokyo. You as the Japanese.
Pickled mango. One of the color... What's up?
Sorry. I'm so in. I love mango and the idea of pickling it and then making ice cream.
Cool. Cream cheese based ice cream with a slightly spicy mango sauce made of white balsamic vinegar, white pepper, allspice, and clove.
That sounds like it was made specifically for me.
Corn on the cob.
I would eat that. Yeah. Delicious scoop. I've had corn ice cream before. It's real good.
Since opening Maxamina's in Queens, New York in 1998, owners Bruce and Mark Becker have created more than 5,000 one-of-a-kind ice cream flavors, many of them adapted from their grandfather's original recipe. Daily flavor experiments mean that the menu is ever-changing, but corn on the cob, a summer favorite. Also, they have horseradish, garlic, pizza, lox, and jalapeno have also been additional flavors.
Wonderful. Garlic ice cream. You've never had it.
What's up?
Garlic ice cream is really good.
Yes. I couldn't do that. Love garlic. When it comes to ice cream, it has to be sweet or I'm not going to do it.
It is? You'd be surprised how sweet it is.
Oh, God. I can never pronounce this, but, foie gras? Foie gras?
Foie gras.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it is a goose liver pate, I believe, or duck liver, something like that.
Alright, well, now it's an ice cream.
Yep. Oh, God. I enjoy foie gras. I know how unethical it is. Therefore, I must say total poop. But I would try, I think it'd be good ice cream.
Okay. Pear and blue cheese.
Delicious scoop, I'm in.
Ghost pepper.
Delicious scoop. I mean, if I'm gonna have the devil's butthole one, or whatever it was.
I don't think it had anything to do with the butthole. I mean, it would probably at the end. The devil's breath. Oh, God. Okay. No, you're fine.
Joke.
Bourbon and cornflake.
Oh, yes, please. Delicious scoop.
Fig and fresh brown turkey.
Fresh brown or fresh ground?
Brown. Sweet tooth scientists at New York City's Il Laboratorio del Gelato have never met a flavor they didn't like or want to turn into an ice cream. How else would one explain the popularity of their fig and fresh brown turkey gelato, a popular section among the hundreds of flavors they have created thus far? Beet and cucumber are just two other ones too. But yeah, I guess it's a form of saying the dark meat of the turkey.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that sounds great. It's the fig that draws me in.
It's the fig. I don't care what kind of turkey it is, as long as there's fig in it.
No, yeah, yep.
Lobster.
Is there another lobster one?
There's another lobster one. I guess the other one's lobster and butter or whatever. This one's just lobster. But you know what? This one's in a chocolate ice cream.
Is it a chocolate ice cream?
Yeah, a chocolate butter ice cream base.
Okay, I don't think I'd like it, but I must try it.
Ooh, and this one also has pieces of lobster in it, where the other one was just like a lobster, I guess, maybe like a puree kind of like blended in. But this one actually has pieces of lobster.
See, that's what I think would turn me off on it, is the texture.
Gotcha.
But I still want to try it real bad. I'm gonna say total poop, but I really want to try it. I really want a butter chocolate ice cream. That sounds amazing.
Creole tomato ice cream.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The philosophy at New Orleans Creole Creamery is simple. Eat ice cream, be happy. What's not as easy as choosing from their dozens of rotating ice cream sorbets, sherbets, and ices. But only the most daring of diners might want to swap out a sweet indulgence for something that sounds more like a salad, like the Creole tomato. I wish I had pictures of this shit.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, last one here. It's called Eskimo ice cream. If you happen to find yourself in an ice cream shop in Juneau, remember this: Eskimo ice cream, also known as akutag, is not the same as an Eskimo pie. That chocolate-covered ice cream bar you'll find in just any grocery store, though the statewide delicacy is usually got enough fresh berries mixed in to satisfy one sweet tooth. Its base is actual animal fat, reindeer, caribou, possibly even whale. So berries and animal fat.
I would love to try that. I don't think I'd like it. I think I'd say total poop, but it sounds delicious.
I gotta tell you, Joe, I didn't think you're gonna like delicious scoop a lot of those.
Were we through the whole list?
That was the whole list, man. That was all 22 of them.
Gotcha.
All right, and you like delicious scooped like a majority of them.
I figured I would. I love weird ice cream flavors. I recently learned that apparently a very popular flavor of ice cream way back in the like 16th, 17th century, which I guess at that time it would have been more of a custard than an actual ice cream, was black pepper. And I was watching the recipe for a black pepper ice cream, and I think I would love it. Especially if it had chunks of fruit in it, like either mangoes or cherries.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Cherry I can do. I'm all about cherry. I think my favorite is still Cherry Garcia from Ben. Yeah. There's one more thing I want to do when it comes to ice cream. All right, we're gonna do this too. We're gonna make another game, Joe.
Okay.
It's round 2 of That's a Scoop.
Perfect.
But a little bit different. I'm gonna give you 2 ice creams. You remember when we played that game for Derek's birthday where we picked the top between 2 years and just kept moving the winner on to face something else?
Yes.
Cool. We're gonna do it with ice cream.
Perfect.
All right. So, the first two, pistachio and vanilla fudge.
Oh, my two all-time favorites.
I can read you a description of one if you need more detail about it.
Could I get a little bit more information on the vanilla fudge?
Yes. If you're a chocolate sauce or hot fudge person, this flavor has your name written all over it. Vanilla fudge ripple ice cream has the perfect amount of vanilla and chocolate swirls into it. The flavor is usually used with different sundaes or sometimes black and white milkshakes.
I was so afraid that was going to be the description. Because it makes it so much harder. Oh God.
Well, that's the thing I love too. Like, I could, once in a while, I could eat chocolate ice cream, but it's not my favorite. And I love vanilla ice cream if it's the right kind of vanilla. But when you start putting like fudge swirls into the vanilla ice cream, I'm sold on chocolate.
Right? It's, let me put it this way. My absolute go-to. Like, I love almost every kind of ice cream. I've never had an ice cream I really disliked. I have my favorites. But if this is available and there's nothing like super interesting,
yeah,
I will almost always get a scoop of vanilla with a little bit of chocolate sauce.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to go with for number one.
So you're going to go swirl for this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Hard, because pistachio is, if it's available, it's my number one.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're doing vanilla swirl versus butter pecan.
I'm keeping vanilla swirl.
Vanilla swirl versus cotton candy.
I'm going to keep vanilla swirl, but I do enjoy cotton candy.
Vanilla swirl versus regular vanilla.
Vanilla swirl is going to win.
Vanilla swirl versus banana.
Vanilla swirl wins.
Vanilla swirl versus birthday cake.
Vanilla swirl, man.
Vanilla swirl or mint chocolate chip.
I gotta jump over to mint chocolate chip.
Just so you know, these are the top 20 flavors of 2019. Vanilla swirl was 19 on this list.
That doesn't shock me.
We're at number 13 with mint chocolate chip, and that's going up against Moose Track.
I'm gonna stick with mint chocolate chip, although Moose Track is delicious.
Mint chocolate chip versus Rocky Road.
I'm gonna stick with mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip versus cinnamon roll.
I don't think I've ever had cinnamon roll. I'm gonna change to cinnamon roll.
Okay. Cinnamon roll versus Neapolitan.
Cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll versus strawberry.
I'm gonna say cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll versus chocolate.
I'm gonna say cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll versus chocolate chip cookie dough.
That's not our favorite.
It's so good.
It is so good. I'm gonna switch over to chocolate chip cookie dough.
Chocolate chip cookie dough versus peanut butter cup.
I'm switching to peanut butter cup.
You ever had Turtle Tracks?
Maybe once. And it's so good.
Yeah, it's like Moose Tracks, but, it's, oh god, I think it's Moose Tracks has the peanut butter cups, but Turtle Tracks is like the caramel cups, I think.
Yes, that sounds right.
Peanut butter cup versus chocolate peanut butter cup.
Regular peanut butter cup.
Regular peanut butter cup versus cookie and cream.
Regular peanut butter cup.
Regular peanut butter cup versus coffee.
Regular peanut butter cup.
Oh shit. Alright, regular peanut butter cup versus green mint chocolate chip.
Yeah, green mint chocolate chip.
I didn't even know there was a green mint. I thought it was just a regular vanilla mint.
Right? I don't understand the difference, but I'm in.
Let's see here. This ice cream flavor is literally the best. Everyone loves it, and it's everyone's favorite. Did I make a good choice with picking the best ice cream? The green mint chocolate chip is more like a winter green mint and is filled with chocolatey chips. And the green kind is the best kind. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Nice. Now here's something I will say, interestingly. If I have a choice between green mint chocolate chip and pistachio, I will 99 times out of 100 pick the pistachio.
Why is that?
I just really like the pistachio ice cream better than the mint chip. But I like mint chip better than vanilla fudge. Vanilla swirl.
What about frozen yogurt? What's your thought on frozen yogurt?
I like it. I don't know that I have had enough of it to have a strong opinion.
This episode of This Freakin' Show is brought to you by BallWash.com. Now, it's no secret that the man's most prized possession also happens to be the most sensitive part of his body. Balls are prone to sweat, odor-causing bacteria, and irritation. Upgrade your balls game with quality products formulated to keep your skin healthy and fresh. Guys, that is where BallWash.com comes in. Go to BallWash.com right now, check out the variety of products they have, as well as kits and subscriptions they have available for you. And when you hit that checkout button and you go to pay for that order, make sure you use the promo code FREAKNET, that's FREAKNET, at checkout. It will save you 15% on your entire order. That's right, ballwash.com. When it comes to your sack, they got your back. Well, Joe, I know one day when we start getting back together, do some of these Freakin' Studios YouTube videos, we are going to do a ice cream ranking.
Fantastic.
I'm not sure what 5 we're going to use, but it's going to be amazing.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you know what'll happen is we'll say we're gonna get the top 5 Ben and Jerry's of all time, and Sarge is gonna show up with like the generic Aldi's.
The great value.
Yeah. Ben and Jerry's. It'll be like Chonky Manku or something. Like fat ape ice cream or something.
It's like Ren and Jimmy's.
Right.
It's the same thing.
That took a second to sink in.
Speaking of Sarge,
basic bitch ice cream.
Oh god, I can't wait to get a message about this.
I know, I'm sure you will. Sorry about that. Sarge, I wouldn't tease you if you didn't deserve it.
Oh god.
Because of my fondness for you.
Because of my fondness for you. Because of the love. The love. Speaking of Sarge, guys, like I mentioned, we are part of Freakin' Studios. If you go to freakinstudios.com, you can find links to all of our associated podcasts, like Doug Gray Area, Pretty Little Freaks, Just Freakin' Wrestling, and this podcast, This Freakin' Show. And also, may I mention that This Freakin' Show has some pretty sweet merchandise that's out there for sale.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. All you gotta do is go to TeePublic, that's TeePublic.com, search TFS, and check out all our merchandise. We do have a sale starting next week. More information on that to come, so stay tuned for that. And get prepared to buy your This Freakin' Show merch. Joe, I'm not gonna lie, we are blowing through this episode pretty quickly.
We are.
I am quite impressed. I am really fucking impressed. Anyway, yeah. Joe, how's everything been up your way, as far as, we've seen a lot of the protesting and everything. It never affected you or came by your residence, correct? It stayed more towards in the city?
Yeah, I'd say that. I think there were some protests in my neighborhood, but I missed them. I didn't even know they were happening. So, there was really as far as I know, there was no rioting in my neighborhood. It was just protests. Everything stayed pretty peaceful up here. Actually, Lady Sands and I, the neighborhood my church is in had a protest, and it was pretty hastily thrown together, and so we just kind of showed up, as soon as we could. And, it was pretty good. It was, we stood there with our signs and cars drove by and honked, and then we walked to the end of basically the main street that we were on, and then we walked back, and that was it. It was pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and I think Maddie and I left literally 3-4 minutes before the whole thing was over. Like, we got back to our car, and I think that's when everybody else started to disperse. So, but it was nice, and it was organized by young people, I guess, some high schoolers who live in town, and, or in the neighborhood. And, it was very peaceful, very calm. I gotta say, I was really appreciative of the police officers who were there who, were helping to block traffic so that we could cross the street. Everyone kept it peaceful. It was a really good, really well done thing, I thought. So, but other than that, no, nothing's really been up here. It's been pretty calm as far as I can tell.
And I finally looked up what you were talking about as far as the law enforcement in Minnesota. The community is going to police themselves.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
How is that a good idea?
Well, so
I think you know what, you're gonna have to explain it to me, and I know you're going to, because I think I might be looking at it in the wrong way. So maybe you could clarify exactly what's happening. Because in my mind, It seems like people are going to take law into their own hands.
Gotcha. No, so basically, the model that as I understand it, the model that Minneapolis anyway is planning to adopt is very similar to the model that's been running in Camden, New Jersey for the past few years. Okay. Maybe in the past decade, I forget. No, yeah, it started in 2012, so almost 10 years. And basically the idea is right now what we're doing with police officers is we're asking them to do like 15 different jobs that are all wildly different. And in the midst of that, we expect them to remain calm and, have a gun but not use it and all of this stuff. And, they're not social workers, they're law enforcement. And so the idea is you reduce the size of the actual number of officers that you have, so that the officers, there's not as many people who can work themselves up, get into a tizzy, feel like they are clamping down on things. And at the same time, you increase the number of social workers, you increase the number of crisis intervention professionals, and you increase the number, instead of calling 911 for help in most situations, you'd call 311. And you'd basically say, hey, this is going on, we need some help, and they would send somebody who's trained to actually help with whatever the specific problem is. If it's a domestic abuse situation, if it's a drug situation, if it's a robbery situation where it's something like petty theft, you're going to get somebody who's going to connect people to resources to help make sure that crime doesn't happen again. Whereas with police officers, what often happens is they're overworked, they're underpaid, they're working too hard, the community doesn't know them, and they don't know the community, and so they come in and they don't know, who's supposed to be there and who's not. And, people get aggressive with them, they get aggressive back, and things tend to start to explode and get too fiery. And then we have what happens a lot, not all the time, but it happens a lot.
It happens more than it should.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. So basically the idea is, what they want to do is try and get to the root problems of the crimes, which is addressing, the economic situation, addressing is there a parent in the home? Is there a loving, parent figure that can take care of a kid? Is there, does this person need actually to go to rehab, to get help with their substance abuse issue? Because that's going to do a lot more good than sending somebody to prison where they're likely to get no help for their substance abuse issue. They're likely to end up doing actually more drugs in prison because of the black market in prisons. And then they're going to be released and they're going to be immediately rearrested because they get caught doing drugs again. Whereas if you get somebody in rehab right away, they're going to have a better time. They're going to be able to maybe get their life back and be productive members of society. And that's gonna, in the end, it's ultimately gonna create, that's gonna be more jobs, that's gonna be more tax revenue, that's gonna be more people who are restored to their society instead of locked away and gone. The way that I've been thinking about it all day today is kids need, breakfast and dads. They don't need, their dad thrown in jail. You know what I mean? So that's really the idea. You're not getting rid of the police entirely. You're just decreasing the burden of their job. Their job will be to investigate. Their job will be to make arrests when arrests are necessary. But beyond that, they won't have to do social work. They won't have to, unless they want to. They won't have to, make sure people are getting breakfast or, using drugs safely or getting into rehab or something like that. So I don't know. I think it's worth exploring. It's worked really well in Camden, I guess, New Jersey. So far, I mean, the numbers are still coming in, but they've reduced violent crime by a significant amount. They went from, I think, 79 murders per 100,000 to 22. So that's a pretty big drop. Could be better, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Joey, I'm an idiot, so I'm not quite understanding what you're saying to me. I think I'm following you to an extent, but there's parts I'm missing here.
Sure.
Let me give you a couple examples.
Yeah.
And you tell me who gets called on this, okay?
Yeah.
Somebody gets locked out of their car, but they can't reach a family member. Who do they call?
I assume they call 311 or a locksmith.
Okay. Husband hits his wife at home.
They'd call 311 and get connected to a social worker who's going to, it's probably a social worker and a crisis intervention person who are going to help de-escalate the situation. And then if the wife needs to be removed from the situation for her safety, the social worker is going to help her get access to the resources she needs.
Okay. Same phone call. Social worker shows up. Guy's still irate. That's what they call law enforcement at that time? Because somebody has to interject in that moment.
Well, I think the idea is that most police officers at this time are not well trained in de-escalation techniques.
So, but I'm saying like if a woman is locked in her bathroom and the husband's trying to kick the door down and she's on the phone, she's calling 311 at that moment?
I honestly don't know. Maybe.
I don't see that. That's the part that I get confused by. Cause,
it depends, I think, on, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on if you, can trust the police when you call them. Because a lot of people don't. They won't call the police at all because they don't trust them. They're afraid that the police are gonna show up and kill the wrong person, shoot their dog, that kind of bullshit. So the woman might just put up with it. Or she might just hide in the bathroom till the husband calms down. And so if you are in a situation where you feel like you can trust the authorities, you're going to call the authorities that you trust. If it happens to be 911 because you need somebody to physically restrain your husband, cool. Mm-hmm. That's who you're going to call. But if you just need somebody to help de-escalate the situation, you're going to call somebody who's trained to do that. And right now, police officers simply aren't. Well,
that's what I'm getting at. Like, the husband comes home drunk, history of abuse towards the wife, but she's too afraid to leave. I mean, that's a cop situation at that point, right?
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Because in my mind, it's their whole thought is don't let the cops deal with it, let the community deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the community does a better job, generally speaking, because the community knows you. If the cops are part of the community, that makes it easier too. But I have a particular bias here because I don't think I would ever call the police for anything ever. To be honest with you. In terms of anything that happened in my home, anything that happened, anywhere, I would talk to my neighbors first if there was a break-in or something. I'd be like, hey, you see any shady characters around? And then if I needed the police, I'd go to the police station rather than call them to my building. Cause I don't know the police in my area, and I don't trust them to come into the building, which has a huge number of Hispanic and immigrant populations, and behave ethically. I just don't trust them in the city of Chicago to do that.
There's Chicago police up by you, right? There's no village okay, that's all city Chicago.
That's different. I think if I was in Peatone, you guys probably know your police officers. I know there's one that lives right down the street from your mom and my dad.
Yep.
I think that's a little different just because that's the thing is the community should decide for itself what it needs. Which I think is very important.
Yeah, but if you come down to Peatone and tell them that we're no longer having cops in our town, that everyone's gonna police themselves, and everyone has a gun case, I mean, they're not going to stop anything if somebody tries to break into somebody's house and the owner of the house decides to shoot them. I mean, they're not going to charge for it because they're policing themselves. It's self-defense at that point.
No, I suppose it would be self-defense, but they wouldn't be only policing themselves. There's a support network. It's not just, willy-nilly lawlessness. There's still a system in place. It's just a slightly different system.
Yeah. So like I said, man, it makes no sense to me because like the way I read it, I guess I'm just thinking about it like it sounds like I'm thinking about it completely wrong. Because in my mind, it almost sounds like a fucking purge. Just not so much like the rule is to kill people. It's just like, hey, if something happens, deal with it yourself. And if you can't deal with it, then call the police. That's what it sounds like to me.
No, I don't think it would be like that. It'd be like you call people whose job it is to help you deal with it. And if that's the police, it's the police. But if it's the social worker, it's the social worker. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to have to explain this to me more one day. Like I think I'm understanding the whole concept. Maybe if I read more into it, I just like when you explain shit to me because it's easier.
Yeah, I enjoy it. And it helps me clarify my thoughts about it because I don't always know it. It doesn't always make total sense until I start talking about it. And I don't think about it from every angle. Like I never considered the angles that you've brought up. So.
Well, that's probably like the shitty part on my end because I always look at the worst case scenario kind of thing, and it's like when people talk about it, because it's not worst case scenario as in like this is a bad idea. It's just like where do you draw the line between dealing with yourself? Like let's go back to the situation where a woman's locked in her house and her husband's trying to kick down the fucking bathroom door. Now, right. if she calls the cops and everything, the cops don't come over, acknowledging what the husband does. Hopefully does the right thing and detain him, not, hurt him, but
right.
When you're belligerent, you don't know what you're doing. But at the same time, it's like, if you get rid of cops completely, does that woman call her brother who is sick of her husband constantly beating him and he just happens to go there and take the law into his own hands and gun him down or beat him down?
That wouldn't be okay. You wouldn't want that to happen.
Yeah, and that's where my worry comes into this stuff because I don't think people are understanding because I can't be the only one, and if I am, then I'll plead ignorance if I'm the only one doing it. But
I think lots of people are wondering how it's going to look.
Yeah, so it was just interesting to me, and I hear a lot of people saying like defund the police department, defund police and everything, and what's up?
Yeah. Well, just so a lot of things with the defunding the police, it's not generally, from what I've been reading, it's not a completely defund the police. It's they're buying too many toys and not spending enough resources on actually helping their communities. So we're going to stop them from adding military gear that they don't need because they're not in a war with civilians. We're going to stop them from buying that bullshit. And instead, we're going to invest in feeding more kids breakfast or, making sure that, if there's a kid that's starting to fail classes, starting to look like they might be on the road to juvie, we're going to maybe, this guy has been in the community for a long time. We're going to maybe pay him to be a mentor, or maybe we'll pay this cop extra money to be a mentor. There's lots of different ways to do it. It comes down to getting the communities to be more tightly knit than they are right now.
Yeah. That makes more sense. That makes more sense than what I was thinking. Because in my mind, like honestly, in my mind, I was thinking like, people with guns are going to police their town on their own and everything, and there's not gonna be anything about it because it's there's no law at that point. But
yeah, no, that'd be,
it'd be horrifying. It'd be worse than what it is now.
There are some places in which it works. So I'm thinking particularly of the city of Rojava over in Iraqi Kurdistan. Almost every citizen there has an AK-47 and they walk around with it open carry all day long. And they don't really have murders there. Most of the time if something happens, they actually don't even really have law enforcement per se. What they have instead of judges is a council of grandmothers, whose job it is to work things out between families so that blood feuds don't start. So it's interesting stuff. There's lots of different ways to look at it that I only recently started learning about. So,
do you believe open carry, like not so much in your hand but in a holster, invisible, could decrease crime?
I don't know. to be honest with you. I'm uncomfortable with it, but mostly that's because I'm uncomfortable. I don't know who is well trained.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's what freaks me out about it is anybody can wear a gun on their hip if they have the proper permits or whatever. But there's no guarantee that they are, you know, putting 100 rounds down range once a month or twice a month, you know. That it makes me nervous. I don't know for sure. If everyone was well trained, if we did a better job of requiring training as
like
part of the
if there was a certification.
Yeah.
Well,
Then I think I'd be more comfortable with it.
Yeah. Well, because I know, Aqua Colony, he went through the conceal and carry class and everything. I think it was a 3-day class, but I mean, he was in the Navy for the better part of 3 or 4 years or something like that. So obviously he had his training in the military, but he went through the concealed carry. And he kind of explained to me there was a lot of, you know, written and class work, and they did go out into the range and shoot a little bit. But even in my opinion, like, it didn't seem like it was enough to allow somebody to carry a gun in public. Now, I would be okay with it if it was like a retired police officer, a veteran and stuff like that, who has the understanding and everything of a firearm.
Right.
And they have the mental capability of doing such things. Mm-hmm. I think there should be, some sort of, psych eval that should be taken on maybe a biannual or 4-year basis just to make sure you're still in check. But realistically, I mean, like, you walk through Chicago, I mean, like, and honestly, it's one of the reasons I'm afraid to go to the city. Because you see the murders that happen on a weekly basis and everything, and it just scares the hell out of me knowing that if I walk down the street, I don't know who's carrying what or who, you know, it's not a race thing or anything like that. I don't mean it to be. I don't mean it to sound like that. But white people are criminals too. Asian people, Mexican people, everyone's a criminal. It's not a color thing. And I mean, Chicago is one of those melting pot cities, just like New York or San Francisco or even Houston or Miami, you know, and it's just, you know, being in Peatone and finding the ratio of murders to Chicago, it's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So to leave my bubble,
what comforts me is that, it's really only like 3 neighborhoods that are responsible for the, like 80-90% of all the murders that happen over the summer. It's basically, Inglewood, I want to say, and I'm probably wrong, I want to say Garfield Park or Humboldt Park. And there's one West Side neighborhood that's up there too. But as long as you're north of that, you're probably fine. And honestly, as a white person, you're probably fine. No one's going to shoot at you, generally speaking. Because they know that that's instantly going to get the cops involved. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't want the cops in their neighborhood. But yeah, the point you make about having certifications and things, I think that's really important because like, I have a friend who's a pastor down, he lives in River Forest, I think, or Park Forest, somewhere on that. He's on the far south side, I think just outside of the city. And he was telling me about how like, you know, and he's the most peaceful dude I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, I don't even think I've ever seen him get mad except for the time he was telling me about these kids shooting around his neighborhood. And he was like, man, these jokers, they don't even know how to aim and they're pulling these triggers. Like, you know, his mom's house got all shut up and she wasn't even involved in the gang war that was going on right then because like, you know, she's a mom, an old lady, you know, and it's just these guys they don't even know how to aim. They have absolutely no training. They're just, you know, hotheads with a gun. And it's just like guys, you gotta do better. You know.
Yeah. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing more programs you can put into the city, like the Big Brother program and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be a cool thing to look into. I looked it up real quick. The top 3 neighborhoods in Chicago that are considered the most dangerous is West Inglewood, and Riverdale.
Gotcha. Oh, Riverdale. I always forget about that one.
Yeah, then there's like Auburn Gresham, wherever the hell that is.
That's rough.
Fuller Park, Gage Park.
That
Chicago
might be
Lawn.
Gage Park and Fuller Park might be the ones I confuse for whatever reason with Garfield Park and Humboldt Park.
I gotta tell you though,
Garfield Park and Humboldt Park used to be worse than they are, and now they're not as bad.
I gotta tell you though, they got some pictures of these neighborhoods, and I bet they got great fucking food.
Oh God, yeah.
I love these divey little food places, man.
I had to take a bus up through the city one time. Starting, where did I start? I don't remember. It was right off the Blue Line, down on the south side, south side. And, I've never felt, it's the only time I've ever felt unsafe on the city streets. And it was broad daylight. And, there's all sorts of people walking by me in pretty ratty clothes. And, you see the occasional really, really unbelievably nice car drive through, and you think to yourself, that car is from somebody who runs the drug ring. You know what I mean? And that's probably a prejudice feeling on my part. I gotta do better about having thoughts like that. But anyway, as I'm sitting there waiting for the bus, I'm standing across from the most amazing smelling hot dog stand I've ever seen in my life. And they've got like hot dogs, they've got ribs, they've got, burgers. I can't even remember the name of the place, but it looked literally like it was ready to fall apart if the slightest thing happened to it. So the food has to be incredible because people are risking their lives to eat there.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can I guess that the building was yellow?
I think it was. It was either yellow or green.
Most of those broken down, delicious fucking places are usually Vienna yellow.
Yep.
And I got that from the video you sent me about the burgers.
Yeah. Fatzos.
God. What are you freaking thinking about, Joe?
What am I freaking thinking about? I had a good answer to this question. I am freaking thinking about, I'm really just thinking about this keto diet, to be honest with you. Are you surprised by it? I am surprised by it. I'm surprised. So like, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with my water intake. Mm-hmm. But for the first 3-4 days last week, I was just going down by like, 0.2 of a pound, 0.3 of a pound, half a pound. And then all of a sudden I wake up this morning and I'm 9 pounds lighter than I was when I started. And it's unbelievable to me. Yeah. I'm looking in the mirror and I can see my cheekbones for the first time in like 6 months. I don't have as big a double chin anymore. It's unbelievable after just a week.
Sad thing is, man, you've heard me talk about this for nearly 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't have done it without you.
Right. That's the power of Freakin' Studios and this freaking show, bro.
Yeah. So what are you freaking thinking about?
I told you before how I wanted to kind of start a hobby of like redoing like furniture and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I believe I'm going to start that this week. I got a garage sale, a community garage sale here in a couple weeks that's coming up, and I got a couple dressers from Sherry and Alan because they're planning on moving and everything, and they had a couple dressers they didn't want anymore and they're just going to throw out, so I just ended up taking them. I was like, I could really start my hobby now because there are a couple of things that are in my garage that I need to work on. And now I got the tool bench and the workspace and all that stuff to do it. I just got to go to Home Depot. I got to pick up some stain and some varnish, polyurethane, some sandpaper and everything. So I'm probably going to do that tomorrow and get started on kind of redoing these dressers. I got that old chest I got to redo, and I got to decide if I want to keep it or not because now that I got the new sectional in the living room, I don't got room for it, so it may go in the guest room. I'm not sure yet. I got to redo that. I got an old milk can I got to redo. I got this old soldier cannon cement yard sculpture thing I got to redo. So I'm really excited because I'm going to start doing that this week. Plus I got my AC fixed, so I'm happy about that. That's all taken care of. So project stuff, being laid off and everything, I got to keep myself busy, got to keep myself moving. And because I'm on this diet, I can't just sit around and do nothing because then it makes the diet useless if I'm not continuously trying to improve myself all around. So, yeah, I'm gonna start doing some designs by travesty and see how I do. So I'm gonna do it, Grosso.
Nice, fantastic. I hope it goes well for you.
All right, this freaking furniture.
Damn straight.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Every week our listeners can catch Cartoon Joe here at This Freakin' Show. But if an hour of Cartoon Joe a week just isn't enough, where can they go?
If you need more Cartoon Joe, you can find me over at the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Google Play, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Perfect. Guys, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter just by searching This Freakin' Show, and let all of your friends know that This Freakin' Show is available to be viewed on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, at This Freakin' Show. And if you are listening to us on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating, please give us a review. Subscribe to us on Google Play, Spotify, and Podbean, just so you know that when the show is dropped, you'll be notified of it. That's all I got. As always, I am Travesty.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Freakin' Show. I'm out.